this meeting is the Comuni Datos New York City user group, and we wanted to do something at the beginning of the year to set the tone for the rest of the year. So you can meet the team. Brenda's online, and Jose. I don't know if you guys want to say hi.
Sorry, I forgot how to unmute myself. Hi, I'm Brenda. Thanks for being here today.
Hello, I'm Jose. Thank you for being here.
Hi guys, it's Nayeli over here. Nice to see you all.
And there's me, Sabrina. Nice to meet you all.
Hi, Tabitha. Nice to see you here.
Hello, Leticya. Nice to see you here.
This is the beginning of Comuni Datos in TC last year. We need to get another photo soon with Leticya. But yeah, so if you wanted to know a little more about Comuni Datos New York City, we're an extension of Comuni Datos, but based in New York, we generally do some of the meetings hybrid. Because of the weather, we decided to keep it virtual to stay safe. But if you guys are in New York, we would love for you guys to come in person for another meeting, another meetup. And if you guys are going to TC, let us know. Now we're going to go into the presentations. So we have our 3 speakers. So Jessica will go first, and then Diego and Leticya. So I'm going to hand it over to Jessica to share her screen and introduce herself.
So, good morning, good afternoon, good night. So I don't know where you are necessarily based, but thank you for being here. When Leticya reached out, if I wanted to talk about what do I consider a Tableau game changer, the first thing that came into my mind was trusted biz extensions. And I am completely biased in this topic, but I do believe that for some of you guys out there, trusted biz extensions can be a game changer in your personal life or in your business projects. I think it can be really useful for you, so just hear me out. My name is Jessica Bautista. I'm a co-founder in La Database, and well, to tell you about trusted biz extensions, I need to tell you a little bit about AdBiz. I don't know if you have heard about AdBiz or have seen it. I know some community members have used it, but if you haven't, no problem. I can tell you that AdBiz is an advanced visualization generator. And this generator started in 2019 with my partner, Tristan Guillevan, also the other co-founder of La Database. He is my partner in business, my partner in life, my partner in crime. And well, the reason that I fell in love with this person is because I think his brain works in really mysterious ways. Like, he makes connections that I think regular people do not make. And I will give you an example. In 2019, he told himself, like, okay, I want to be more creative inside Tableau, right? I know how to do bar charts. I know how to do maps. I know how to do lines, but I want to create something a bit more like creative, better, but I don't want to spend that much time, right? You know that sometimes when you want to do something a bit out there, you need to go to like follow 20 steps or see a lot of videos, do millions of calculations, and it's just really difficult to create something like a bit more complex in Tableau. And so then he said, okay, to be more creative inside Tableau, what I need to do is to look outside of Tableau. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't really make a lot of sense if you see it that way, but actually it kind of does, because he knew that there are some libraries out there that really intelligent people have already created, where you put your data and some inputs, and basically the algorithm makes everything and calculates everything for you and gives you a visualization. So he said, okay, Tableau is really good at some things that are like connecting to your data, exploring through your data, interacting with your dashboards. But there are other things that it is not so good at that we can use the power of. So basically he said, okay, instead of putting my data into Tableau, making calculations, fighting with Tableau prep and do that over and over again, maybe I can do ADVIS. That basically is you put your data, ADVIS does all of those calculations, uses the algorithms, uses all of those libraries, and brings you the visualization to Tableau, basically. And I can give you a demo of this. So this is on our website. ADVIS is completely free for everyone. And today, we will do a network. And I was thinking, for example, my parents told me that decades ago, they were trying to create a project where they wanted to see an organization of like, okay, this employee, I want to see if it is below whom and how many people they have in their project and those kind of things. And that is something really difficult to visualize, for example, on a table. And a network diagram is a perfect example of this. So for example, I put my tech company, I put my data, and here I can customize it and put it like, okay, I wanted to have certain size, I wanted to have certain charge. And whenever you like your visualization, you say, okay, click Tableau Desktop, it downloads it. And if I open my downloads, you will see it will take some seconds because Tableau. And you basically have the visualization that you created with ADVIS, that it is like the bones where you can add up and you didn't need it to calculate anything, you needed to do anything crazy. You just, in less than 1 minute, you have what it is already a really nice visualization, right? So basically, people were super happy with ADVIS. We have more than 3,000 users that have explored. We have seen in Tableau Public at least 300 plus visualizations, and from those, at least 40 have been voted Vis of the Day. And yeah, so basically we solved the problem. You don't need to create like, doesn't necessarily need to be difficult to create a really creative or complex visualization. You have ADVIS. But I don't know if in the visualization that we created with ADVIS, you saw maybe a tiny bit of a problem. What happens, for example, if Priya changes to a different company, or if Marcus changes to a different department, or Leo maybe gets a promotion? Basically, you need to go again to the website, put all of your new data again, move all of the parameters again, create your visualization again. So like it becomes a bit tedious, right? So the next problem that we saw is like, hey, you cannot really connect and refresh your data easily. This can become like really time consuming and unsustainable. So people were like, if only I could connect my data source to ADVIS, this will be much easier. And I do believe that somehow the people were praying or something to the gods of database, and Tableau created what it is called BIS extensions. And BIS extensions is basically an API that Tableau created with that whatever information you put on your Marks card, the API can send it and the extension reads it and basically shows a visualization to you already on your screen. So it is the same magic that ADVIS has, but in BIS extension. So you put your data into Tableau and the BIS extension does the same magic for you to see the visualization. And I'm going to show you a demo of this. So how the BIS extension works is that you need to enable it on your site. You click Add BIS extension, you're in the marketplace, and if you put La Database, you can see all of our extensions. Right now, let's do like a tree. Click OK, And in Sample Superstore, you say, I want to see my category, my subcategory, category and color, sales in size. So everything on your marks card, and voila, in less than a minute, you have a really nice visualization. Let's do a gauge that it is a really popular one because it's really difficult to do. If you put your value on sales, you already have an initial visualization that you can format if you want. For example, let's put a profit in target. That's great. And I want my target to be in maybe yellow because let's be a bit funky. Let's do a radar. So if I put subcategory in spokes and on sales, I put value, you have a radar chart. And just as in Tableau, you can also sort. So if you say, okay, I want my subcategories to be sorted by my sales in descending order, you have a more easier to read radar chart. Then you have the KPI. So KPI is not necessarily difficult to do, but it is super, super time consuming. So with this KPRB's extension, you just need to say, okay, I want to see my KPI by months, and I want to see my quantity. And you immediately, easily have your KPI with the comparison against last month. You can say, okay, maybe I want an area or I want a line chart, but in this case, I want actually a bar chart with rounded corners. So that is what I'm choosing today. This is a really new extension, so maybe you guys haven't seen it, but if you put region on color, and then you put, for example, order date by quarter, and then you put running sales in size, you have a really interesting area bomb chart that you can see, for example, here that the South region was doing really good in the beginning with the sales, but as time went by, now it is on the last position compared to the other regions. And a vis extension doesn't necessarily need to be a visualization because it can be almost anything you want. In this case, for example, we can have a drill down menu where you can have all of your options without needing to search for icons or anything. Is really easy to use. And for example, this is a 3D chart that if you put your source and your target, you can have something that even has movement. So there are a lot of these extensions out there, guys, check them out. If we put all of the these extensions that we created today on a dashboard, you can see that they can be really powerful on the messages that you want to use, that you want to communicate, especially if you use filters, right? Because they interact with each other. Like, okay, I want to see only that sales in furniture, and it already filters everything on the dashboard. Or you say, okay, I want to see everything on storage, or I want to see only the sales in July. So basically, it helps you. All of the visualizations, all of the vis extensions are like Tableau. They feel like Tableau, interact with Tableau in the same way, but they're more effective, more creative. They're just easier and better for you. So basically, the problem that we had before of connecting and refreshing your data is no longer a problem. Now you can use these extensions. But of course, this slide is too empty to end this way. So the next problem that we saw is that the these extensions cannot be used in Tableau Public. And some people are like, hey, I care about my data privacy. And yeah, these are problems that surge, and that they come not only from Tableau, they also come from our side, the problems, in the sense of like, well, we're the ones hosting these extensions, and we cannot put them in Tableau Public and be able to sustain all of the hosting cost. But also for Tableau, it is like, hey, we don't want our users' data to suffer any risk. We cannot control who is the one creating these extensions, and we cannot verify each and every single one. So we don't want to put them in Tableau Public and not be able to secure your data, right? But again, I think because people were asking for it, people like you, people like everyone in the community were like, we want these extensions in Tableau Public. Basically, Tableau and La Database came up with these called Trusted Biz extensions. And what are these Trusted Biz extensions? They're the same biz extensions that I just showed you, but where the Tableau developer team that we work with, Wilson Poe, shout out, that is the one that helped us a lot. They basically validated all of our code and check it out. And now, if you go to the exchange, you can click here on the checkbox that says Tableau Trusted Partner. We are the only partner that has been trusted with this responsibility of putting the extensions online for you to use in Tableau Public for free. And the ones that you put in Tableau Public are hosted by Tableau itself. So this is super, super, super great news. And the community have already used some of the extensions. For example, Chimdi did a really awesome tree diagram about women in Broadway directors. Pradeep did a super, super nice dashboard KPI with a lot of the extensions. They look amazing. And basically, we solve the next problem. Now you can use Trusted Biz extensions in Tableau Public. And to be completely honest with you guys, I will not tell you everything is perfect. We don't have any more problems. Yeah, we do have problems. We probably need to have improvements and it will continue building. But Trusted Biz extensions is the latest iteration that we have from these extensions, and it is the one that it is on public. It is for free. It is for everyone to use if they want to. Like really, it is as easy as go put sample superstore, and you can try to break the boundaries of visualization. Test it, look it out. It doesn't need, like, it is not an obligation. Just try it out and see if maybe these extensions can help you in your personal visualization in your projects, because they're just there to support any or everything. If you have any kind of idea, let us know, because these visualizations are really for everyone. Thank you very much. This is my presentation. If you want to know more about La Database, you can scan this QR code. We have newsletter, other tools, everything that you want to know, you find us here. And well, thank you very, very much for your time.
Thank you, Jessica. There were 2 questions in the chat.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't see what are the questions.
One question was from Tristan when you were, when you were doing one of the, when you were doing the dashboard, but how long would it have taken to build the dashboard before Viz extension?
Well, I guess it depends on the visualization that you want to do. For example, as Sankey, it can easily take you a week of like videos trying to figure out the calculations, see if the data that they have matches with your data, then densify like it can take you really hours and hours and hours. And right now, I think it's just like, okay, more or less my data is in the same format as, I don't know, Sample Superstore. And really, in seconds, you can have a first draft of your visualization. So I do believe these extensions can be a game changer for some people out there.
No, it definitely is. The other question was from me, and it was what inspired the name La Database.
Yeah, well, La Database, this came from my partner.
Yeah.
And he is French. So la, like French, ooh la la. So la, data, and then bis.
Nice.
I think it is really funky because some people think that it means LA database and that we are like living in LA while it is like not at all.
Does anyone have any other questions for Jessica?
Thank you guys. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. That was amazing.
First of all, I want to thank Jessica because she has done a wonderful presentation, and I'm also proud of the team that she has done with Tristan. I also have to thank Tristan because once I have a problem with a customer that was using their extensions, and I request Tristan an improvement of one of these extensions. And in a few days, he already committed the changes to the extension. So it was so great. So if you think that there are things that the extensions could improve, you can contact Tristan or Jessica, and probably they will be eager to hear you about what could be better in the extension. So it is also great to hear that they're very open-minded. The gates are always open to improvements. Okay, wonderful. We received a question about what would be the 2026 major, like, I don't know how to say that, or improvements or waves. And as you see, probably the question is very open and very interesting. Yeah. And probably the way that I solved this question was about the infrastructure and taking into account the artificial intelligence. So what I think about the future, yes, of the data in 2026 and beyond is probably that we are having 3 layers. The base layer that is going to be the semantic model, the semantic, and everything's related to that. So we're talking about databases, efficiency, real time. Yeah. In the middle, we have like a layer that will bring APIs, that will bring artificial intelligence, that will bring services. For example, when we talk about artificial intelligence, we're talking about agents. When we talk about services, for example, we're talking like the BizQL data service that let you make queries directly to the semantic model or to the published data sources. We're talking about MCP servers, for example. Yes, and we have the end user layer, that is the app experience. Yeah, the app experience could be Tableau Cloud, could be a web page, could be your own app. Yeah, and this is the future. You know, we have 3 layers, and probably the layer that is becoming greater, that is becoming I don't know how to say, very big, más ancha, very wider, could be the part of the artificial intelligence and the services. Like I told you, artificial intelligence, like MCP servers or services. Yeah. So I want to start talking about the semantic layer. The first thing that I thought about the semantic layer is that we have the problem to be very focused on defining, yes, what are the calculated fields and the calculated fields will translate into metrics. Yeah, and probably is about the definitions, the calculations, the testing, also about the definitions that we are going to do in our semantic layers. Probably we can talk about semantic layers as published data source in Tableau Cloud. We can talk about semantic models in Data 360, in Data Cloud, or, well, every data lake, data application has its own, how can I say, name, yeah? But we have to talk about the definitions, yeah? About what is the metadata that is behind this data layer. Once we have defined that, we can feed dashboards, we can feed artificial intelligence, we can feed, for example, services that like BSQL data service in Tableau. Yeah, but probably the data layer will be one of the most important things that we are going to focus in 2026. Yeah. And also, there's something that I'm saying here is that dashboards are not the only end product. Probably metrics and agents are also in the landscape and are very important in the future in 2026. Yeah. There's something that I really have noticed through the years. Yeah. I remember that when we talk about 2010, when we talk about refreshing the data once a month, once a week, it was okay. A few years ago, 2021, 2022, probably updating the data once a day was okay. And today we are talking about refreshing the data twice or 3 times a day. And the desired is that we want to refresh the data in real time. Yeah. And that's something, for example, that Tableau should improve, because as you know, Tableau caches the data. Yeah, Tableau uses cache in order to have an improvement in the proficiency of showing the dashboards. Yeah, I think that in the future the cache will be optional, and the default should be real-time information. And the why is because the application are demanding the information to be real time. If you change the status of a case, if you solve something, if you want to monitor what is the status of your delivery, yeah, you know the real time, what is happening right now, yeah. And probably that is something that we have to accustom and to also improve in our data layers in our companies. We have to prepare to real time. Also, governance is very important in the future. Yeah, but I think that in the future, governance will also include something that currently I don't find very frequently in the cloud applications that I use. For example, pre-flight checks. For example, you want to run auto checks for personal information exposure, expensive joins. For example, you have a joint that will cost you so much, or that could be with low performance. Yeah. So probably pre-flight checks would be very important. Also about quality warnings. For example, that you have so many nulls in one field, you have to do something about that. Also, we have the second part, that is the fearless refactoring. And this has to do probably with lineage. Yeah, if you change something, what will cause, what would I damage? What is the problem? What would break if I change this? Yes, and this is something that has to be solved, because currently, for example, if you are going to change a data source in Tableau, you change the data source and then you notice what are the problems after. Yes, there's something that should aware you about what are the problems that you are going to do that if you promote that change. Yeah, there's something that also I see that Tableau is missing, is about security and simulation. For example, something that you should be aware is that when you are using row level security in Tableau, you can't test how this row level security would work for a user. For example, if you are using published data sources, yeah, because for example the user filter that you can use in Tableau Desktop doesn't work with published data sources. Or for example, you want to see what the end user will see. For example, you want to see which projects does the user have access. you want to see which workbooks, which data sources, but there's not currently a way to do this in Tableau. Well, in Salesforce, you can do it because there's an option to sign in as a user, to impersonate the user. But in Tableau, we don't have that. Yeah? And that's something that should be available in Tableau, because you always want to check what is this user seeing. And the only solution is to call the user, share me your screen, let me see what you're seeing. Okay, thank you. And also, there's something at the end about certified flows, yeah? And I think that something this has to do with, okay, if I publish a data source, there should be like a task creation for the, I don't know, for the site admin or for the data marshal or data steward that says someone has published a data source. Do you want to certificate this data source? There would be like automatic task that when someone wants to do a change or wants to publish a data source, a new data source, that should fire some flows, yeah, about authorization and checking, yeah, because currently the only way you do is you publish the data source and you go to an email and say, hey, please check the data source I just published. Certify it if it meets the requirements. Yeah. So I think that it should be automated task for certification flows. Okay. The next one is about creating dashboards with artificial intelligence and with agents. Yeah, I know that probably you are going to say me, yeah, but Tableau has an agent where you can create some visualizations. Yeah, but probably you also have tested and the agent is not very good, yeah, and it has to improve a lot. But the idea is not bad. Probably what is bad is the performance of the agent. But I think that in the future, yeah, you will create a prompt, and probably you are going to receive a dashboard, yeah. And this is really related to how the workbooks in Tableau works. Probably you know that behind the workbooks you are going to find an XML, and the XML is basically very, very intuitive to be created with languages like Python. So I think that probably in the future we are going to have this kind of improvements. But also right now, at this moment, there is people that is creating flows, Tableau prep flows with agents. And for example, I just wanted to show you here. I have this guy, Cooper Wengwa, yeah? And this guy is already creating flows through agents, yeah? So it's really good because he's creating and he's passing by cloud, in this case, Cloud Code, yeah? And he's creating the flows directly from code. So it's so wonderful because they are already creating this type of content directly, yeah, from MCP servers and all this type of things. So we are not very far to getting to this, okay? And also, I think that in the future, right now, we are going to have like pre-check, yeah, about the best practices of visualization of our dashboards. For example, the contrast of colors, the size of the fonts, if we are using the recommended BIS types. Yeah, I think that probably we have at this moment, we have the dashboard optimizer in Tableau Desktop, but probably in the future, it will have more and more capabilities like this type of things. Yes. Also, I think that in the other side about the performance, yeah, probably it would be so nice to have this type of things like the one I'm showing you. Yeah, for example, in this case, I'm showing you an example of what I think about performance and observability. Yeah, where in the heat map you are going to see the areas that have been used, yeah, by the end users, but also what about what is the query cost of an element? What is the load time of an element? Yeah, and it should be so great to have this instead of the performance recorder that we have currently in Tableau. Yeah, it would be so great to have something that is more visual, that could give also warnings, that could give you also recommendation on how to improve. Yeah. And I think that probably we are also going to have something like this in the future, in the near future. Yeah. Why? Because like I told you, the dashboard are XML files, and that could be also related. Yes, in the performance recorder, you can relate the sheet to the XML, and therefore you can also like render the dashboard, and why not obtain something like this? Okay. Also, I think that the dashboard that like we know them, they are going to disappear, because the dashboards that are going to exist, that will preserve, that will exist in the future, are dashboards that are like appish dashboard. Yeah. And it is very important for me that, for example, you have navigation bars, that you have AI insight summaries, that you have buttons, yeah, like to create case, to create email, yeah. And that's something that we should start working now. If your dashboard doesn't look like an app, I think that you should start working like that, with working and start working so the dashboard look like an app. And I have to admit, for example, that Tableau Next, despite it's very basic, they are doing a very good job in this type of things, because they have buttons, for example, to interact with the data in Salesforce directly. They will have insight summaries, yeah, and they are doing a very, very, very good job in the semantic layer. Yeah? And Tableau Next probably is, as you know, is probably a very good tool for current Salesforce users. But I think that if we take a lot of this improvement that Tableau is doing in Tableau Next to Tableau Classic, it would be so great. Yeah. Also, there's something that you will see in the future, is that the elements, the artifacts, will be reusable. And this is something that also Tableau Next is doing very good, because in Tableau Next, yeah, you can reuse, for example, your semantic models. That's something that probably would be done in Tableau Classic when we have composable data sources. But also, each of the elements of the dashboard, like worksheets, the dashboard itself, the semantic models, are reusable for other dashboards, for other applications. Yeah, so you can reuse them. Yeah. So that's very good, but also it has to be leveraged with governance, because if an asset is being used, I don't know, for example, if you change a semantic model, and the semantic model is used in 10 workbooks and also in 30 dashboards, yeah, well, the impact of changing one reusable artifact could be very, very, very great. Yeah, very. It can have a high impact in the downstream assets. Yeah. Also, I think that there's something that we have to work in Tableau and in Tableau Next, is about the control version, because there's something that probably in Tableau Cloud, you have seen that every time you save a workbook, you save a version. Yeah, and when you are in Web Edit in Tableau Cloud, each time you save a workbook, you save a version. But that is not good. Probably I would like to choose when I want to save a version. Yes, because that is not the same thing of pushing the save button. Yeah, because probably I want to save snapshots or versions when I hit milestones. I don't want to save a version of my dashboard every time I push the save button. Yeah. So I think that there are things that should be improved. Yeah. For example, if you are working with GitHub projects, you will see that you have not only versions, but you also have branches, yeah, of your project. It should be interesting if we could have branches of the dashboards, for example, in Tableau Next or in Tableau Classic. Yeah. So I think that in the future, yes, having reusable artifacts like semantic models, like workbooks, sheets, dashboards, yeah, but also versioning could be very important in the future. Okay. So if we're in 2026, where you should start? And I think that probably the number one investment is now in semantics model and metrics definition. The next things probably is about spec real time. And the third thing is about adopt natural language development, and probably this has to do with creating, for example, layouts in Canva, about creating calculated fields using Tableau Agent, about creating metrics, yeah, about using the Q&A in Tableau Pulse, yeah. We have tools right now that we should be using right now, yes. Finally, I think that our dashboard should start to look like more appish, yeah, from today. Think about dashboards, and probably you are going to see the beast of the days frequently have this type of appish look. So believe me, it is really important that your dashboard begin to look like apps. Okay, and that's all that I have for you for today.
Thank you, Diego. That was very informative. that was amazing. Does anyone have any questions for Diego? Tabitha says there's so much to think about.
Yeah, probably we have to start thinking more about the data. Yeah. For
Mhm.
example, when I was watching the presentation from Jessica and Tristan, I wonder what if they bring that type of business into an MCP server,
Yeah.
and you begin to visualize them directly with an agent. Yeah, when you are creating questions. Could you imagine that? That would be so fantastic. See that type of graphs interacting with you in an agent. So I think that is something that we should start imagining, because it's happening. Like I told you, this guy from Korea or China, I don't know where he is from, but Cooper Wenhua is already creating an MCP server to create flows directly with an agent with Claude. So if we are creating now flows, how long will it pass to create dashboards? I don't think that it will. Probably 1 year or 1.5 years, but we're going to have dashboard created by AI. So probably what we have to think about is, how are we going to use AI to be more proficient, to be more performant, yeah? And that's probably the best thing. Probably you see my wonderful pictures that I have in my presentation. All of them were done by artificial intelligence. Yeah, so I did not have an image creator behind me or someone that is using Adobe Illustrator. No, it was I need to create an image with this style. Okay, I have my image, copy, paste, wonderful. So we have to be more productive every day and use the artificial intelligence to be more performant every day. That is the message that I'm going to give you today.
Just going along with that, what are some of the ways you're using AI right now to kind of boost productivity?
Okay, well, I use, for example, to create the layouts. Yes, like Figma, but with artificial intelligence. Okay, create me a layout. And okay, I just copy, paste, background image, and I began to drag and drop my sheets inside each of the squares. And wonderful. Yeah, for example, that's something that I have been using. I am also a Tableau partner to sell and to implement Tableau in South America. And probably one of the features that has more impact in my customers is the Q&A feature with Tableau Pulse and Tableau Plus. But I have seen customers very happy using the Q&A in Tableau Pulse, for example. So they are using it really frequently. Tableau Pulse is also very used with the metrics and the AI insights comments. So it's so wonderful. So probably I have to say that I'm also using Tableau Pulse a lot. Yeah. I have been testing the MCP servers, like the one that the Will Sutton built, for example, to include conclusions, to include insights into dashboards. And that is something that I strongly recommend you to review. There's a great video about Will Sutton's how he used the MCP server to include insights into dashboards, and that is so wonderful. You have to take a look of it because my customers have also implemented the same MCP server and the same Tableau dashboard extension that he built, and they are using it in the reporting. So I really recommend that also. So I think that probably I have shown you so many things, but some of them has already been implemented. Yes, but probably we have to look our LinkedIn more frequently and take a look about what are the ideas that are coming every day and begin to test those improvements. Because probably, as you have noticed, Tableau is not doing great improvements on how you visualize data, yeah, because the improvements are made by Tristan and by Jessica, yeah. Mm-hmm. They are investing in the semantic model, they are investing in the artificial intelligence, but they are not investing too much now in how you visualize data, yeah. They are investing in the composable data sources, they are investing in the agent, they are investing in the semantic model, they are investing, but the improvements in the end user interface of how you build dashboard, they are reduced. They have been reduced. And I think that probably we have also to focus on how to get the most of the data instead of how to get the most of the visualization. Yeah, because you will have metrics, you will have agents, yeah, you will have your dashboard that will behave like apps, yeah, and all of them are based on semantic models, published data sources, yeah, and we have to be very careful about the semantic models, the data that are going to fit all these interfaces, dashboard, apps, semantic, no, dashboard, apps, agents, metrics. Yeah, and that is something that probably we have to shift the way we are thinking.
Thank you, Diego. You definitely left us with a lot to think about.
For
But
example, Paulo is also in the call. For example, Paulo has a meeting on March 5th. Paulo, I don't know about Comuni Datos in Costa Rica,
yeah,
where,
so we have
where he's showing how to leverage artificial intelligence in the development with Tableau also. So it would be an interesting talk also to hear about it in March 5th. I think it is. Probably you can share us the link, Paulo.
Yeah, Pablo, if you can share the link. But again, thank you, Diego. So we have a few more minutes and we're going to change it over to Leticya.
Okay. And we have a few minutes, but we'll start very quickly and then we can talk a little bit about the soft skills and balancing technology, AI, and human intelligence. So Diego and Jessica share great things about all the improvements and developments within the Tableau and data community. I am one of the few folks that said it's new to data, so it was very interesting to me to learn all of that. But I want to talk to you guys about what would make you a unique professional, even when the tools are changing, and really fast. So the soft skills that would define, the top talent now in 2026, but also in the future. So we are not just focusing right now. So before we get into what we're going to discuss, I want to share a little bit about me. So my name is Leticya Liszkiewicz. I'm a talent acquisition leader. I'm a proud Brazilian, but a New Yorker at heart. I've been in New York for about 14 years. I have 8+ years in the experience in talent acquisition, recruitment, partnering with leaders to hire best talents and to elevate their teams and building high impacting teams. And I also enjoy supporting the Brazilian professionals and advancing their careers. So as we are talking, things are happening really fast. And in the past, we used to think that the future, it was in like 10, 20 years from now. But now we can, the future of work, we can think that it's no longer 10 years away. It's next year. And as Diego was saying, things are changing really fast in real time. So the future is right here. AI is part of all the conversations that we have every day. Like we just, discussed a little about AI, and it's evolving very fast, accelerating very fast, and faster than we can keep up with it. And technical skills are evolving constantly too. So in each week we have a new tool, we have a new platform that we need to be knowledgeable about, that we feel like I didn't even know that it exists. And you just, you feel like you're behind because they're going so fast. But it's important for us to know that technology alone won't lead the future. So the real differentiator is not just what you know and the technology that you know, it's also the humanity. It's how you think, how you communicate, and how you can lead. So from a talent acquisition perspective, I wanted to share some of the skills, soft skills, that along with your technical skills and expertise and AI literacy will support you in accelerating your career in 2026 and also beyond, this year. So I have divided it in 3 pillars. So we have clarity, that we're focused on strategic communication and business acumen, business mindset. So then we also have adaptability, which is learning agility, your AI comfort, and your resilience, and ownership, that is accountability, emotional intelligence, and leadership. So clarity means how you communicate and how well you understand the business. So as a data professional, you deal with complexity like every day, and everything that you guys showed before me was very complex to me, so I cannot even imagine. But your impact in your day-to-day, it's not going to be measured on how complex your work is. It's going to be measuring how clear others can understand what the information that you are sharing. So we can start with simplifying your complexity. So you can try to focus and explain data in a way that non-technical stakeholders, like non-technical peers or leadership, can understand, and that will help you increase your value. You also translate insights into decisions. So data is very important, but if for some audience, I'm focusing here, let's say the leadership or the executives of your company, data is not going to be the goal for them. The decisions are going to be the goal. So instead of just presenting the numbers, you can ask yourself, why are you working on it? Like, what does that mean? Like, what actions should I take? What are the risks, that I'm taking and that can happen with this information? So it is important to, adjust your communication to your audience. So with peers, like we're having the event today, the meeting, like we can talk very in tech and methodology and very technical information. And it's fine because you guys are all like part of that community that understand that it's, it's part of that world, if you will. But if you're talking to someone, let's say with leadership, you need to think about the impact the information that you're sharing is going to take, the risk, the growth, and the cost, because that's, the information they are looking to understand and receive from the information that you're sharing. So, and then thinking about business mindset. So the strong professional don't just understand data, but they also understand how the company makes money. So that's one of the questions in a Mentimeter, like where you see the importance, of your work. So there was like business mindset, there was adaptability, then we would talk soon, there's time management, and I saw the business mindset was the last one. It was not they got the many votes, and it's fine. It's not the first one that you're gonna think. You're gonna think about also communication, which is important. We don't know. We'll think about time management, but business mindset, business acumen, it's also very important because you need to shift your mentality to what will drive the revenue, what are the strategic priorities that this company, that your team, that your supervisor or the leadership is focused on, and what is the direction that the business is moving towards too. So you need to, beyond having the knowledge and data and creating dashboards and the work that you're doing, but also be attached to the business too, so you can keep your relevance within your team and in the organization. So you need to, as we're saying, like you need to think beyond your own function in your work, and think also about the entire organization. You need to be aware of the surroundings, what is happening, what's that other department is creating, how your work can impact on their work, or how we can support each other. So that will help you from being an analyst to a strategic partner as well, which is the goal on how you want it to be seen. So by connecting dashboards to dollars, to money, you will increase your influence. So an example here. So imagine two analysts building the exact same report, the same dashboard, if you will. So one presents it to the leadership team, focused on their features and the technical details, and the other one explains what the data means for the business, the risk, the impact on the revenue and the costs, which, it's what the leadership most of the time is looking for, like the impact and the cost. So the difference isn't the report itself, it's the interpretation. So the analyst who presents with business mindset is the one who gets promoted, gets hired, who gets the more visibility and more influence. So the technical skills will get you shortlisted, but communication, business mindset will get you hired or promoted or more visibility. So it's important to keep that in mind. So next we have adaptability, which in a Mentimeter is also one that was not the top, but I would say that is most critical pillar, for the moment that we are living right now, because tools are changing very fast, as we said, like platforms are evolving, AI keeps advancing. So it is important to be adaptable in the environment that we are. So your title may stay the same. You might be an analyst, but the skills for your role will shift constantly, because there will be more things that you need to evolve, as Diego was saying, more things that Tableau can be incrementing, things that you can be learning, that will continue to shift it, and your skills and all your work will change. So your ability to learn and continue developing yourself is becoming more important than what you already know. So that's what's adaptability. It's the ability for you to okay, I'm going to learn this new tool. I'm going to go to this new platform. Let me see what is this new update that Tableau is putting out there for us. So your ability to learn, and unfortunately right now learn, really fast. So that's what's differentiate professionals it is right now. It is the learning agility. So, which means adapting quickly to new tools, experimenting without waiting for perfection. So just play with it, play with the tools that you have, play with the new platform, just, challenge yourself on that, and stay curious instead of comfortable. There's something new out there that you heard, start using and start being curious and learning before even your supervisor or your peer or someone presents that to you, or be the one leading the change and present to them. So that will be, key, and will show how adaptable you are. But adaptability is not just technical. We need to think about the emotional part of it as well. So when change happens, and we know the changes are all the time right now, so we can have new systems, new leadership, new expectations, restructuring, mergers. So there's a lot happening. So it's important for you to think, when change happens, do you become defensive or you become curious? And I'll leave that for you to think where you fit in that. So if you can feel defensive or curious. And I understand that change can be challenged, but there's an importance of building emotion resilience, during this time, because resilience will mean that you will stay steady during that transformation. And that's what, it's important for the professional of the future, for the professional that is dealing with all the change that we are seeing in the market right now. And also flexible, because flexible will mean that you adjust at the same time that things are changing, but without losing performance. I know it can be a lot, but it is the speed that things are moving right now. We wanted to make sure that we are continue to be resilient and flexible to all the change and things that are coming our way. And and leaders are noticing that. They're noticing who is resisting to the change or who is leaning to you. And this is important because unfortunately, or fortunately, it depends the perspective you see, we will continue to have change and new and things shifting in the world and in work specifically. So the real question is no longer will AI replace me? Instead, it is how can I use AI to amplify my impact? And that's where Diego was saying too, we need to be open to use AI on a day-to-day to support what are we doing. So that's the focus, because the professional who sees AI as a partner, not a threat, will be the ones who move faster, who thinks bigger, and who create more value. Here. And last, we have on a list ownership. Ownership is what will separate you from being a high performer to a leader. It's not about title. Ownership is not about title. It's about how you show up. We can start with accountability. So the focus is not going to be only completing tasks, like your supervisor is going to ask, hey, you're going to do this, this, and this, and I want to be delivered by Friday. The focus will be also on owning outcomes, and in discussing and showing ways to improve that or to think out of the box. So the difference is a task mindset will be, I built a dashboard, and an ownership mindset will be, did this dashboard actually solve the problem that my supervisor, that my team, that my company is looking to solve? So that's the shift that we need to do from, a task to ownership. It's also, ownership is also means solving issues before escalating. So we started to, going to someone and say, well, this isn't my responsibility. You can ask, how can I move this forward? How can we can partner to solve the solution, or how can I help you to solve this problem? So, I need to focus on solving issues before, sending to someone else. And it also means to thinking systematically. So instead of how does this affect my team? you're going to think, how does it impact my business as a whole? So that's going back to like a business mindset. So you're also going to think about how what you're doing is impact the whole business, not just your team, your task, your, the task the supervisor asked you. And take initiative. So don't wait to be told, identify the gaps, propose solutions. I know that this can be very, common. We talked, I believe you guys have heard and then have discussed, take an initiative to do a work on something, but I think that is always important to reinforce that. But also let's talk about the human side of the ownership, which is the emotional intelligence piece, which will be your ability to listen actively, to manage conflict professionally, to give feedback without ego, but also receive feedback without defensiveness, which, it's important. And building trust, within the cross-functional teams. Like if you work with different departments, building that trust, building that relationship will be important, because you'll be able to partner with that team, with that other professional that's not in your day-to-day, more comfortable. And then also by building consistency, clarity, and maturity. So yeah. So lastly, you can influence others, and you don't need to be a supervisor, a director, or a manager, to influence or be a leader. You can start by mentoring others, by helping others to understand better the business, something that that someone's new, it's coming to the organization and doesn't know, so you can help them with that. And you can elevate the team, right, by doing that, and raise standards. We can be with anyone. There's always if you're entry level, there's a intern that will be joined this summer. You can start mentoring, raise your hands to mentor that person, or to just casually having conversations. Or if you meet senior level, there's always opportunity to mentor and support junior team members. So ownership is leadership in action. So the professional who grow faster are not just focused on their performance. You're also thinking about how you can elevate others around you and your team, your organization as a whole. So, as we move into 2026, we're 2 months in. So technical skills will continue to evolve, new tools will emerge, AI will keep advancing, platforms will change, but soft skills are what will make your technical skills valuable. So it's not going to be either or, it's going to be both hand in hand. So recapping what we share, so clarity transforms technical skills into leadership potential. Adaptability will protect your relevance, and ownership will accelerate your growth. So the professional of the future is not choosing between technology and humanity and soft skills, emotional intelligence. They are balancing both of them. And the professional of the future will, I forgot to share. So the professional of the future will communicate with clarity, lead and adapt quickly, will use AI strategically, will build trust, will take ownership, and will lead and develop others. Because the future belongs to those who strengthen human skills along with their technical expertise. So it's important for us to have that in mind as we are developing our technical skills, AI, and all the other tools within the Tableau, the data community. Take some time also to focus on your human skills, because that's going to be very important for the future. If you are developing your career and your team where you are, if you are looking for opportunity, these are things that are important, that you will see more relevance very soon. So this is what I have today for you guys. Sorry if I went too fast, but yeah, here if you guys have any questions.
No worries, thank you. Yeah, if anyone has any questions, I'll see if there's any in the chat. You're getting applause.
I also shared with Sabrina, with Leticya, I put together some handout for you guys. So there's some recap where I shared with you here, and some areas on how to develop clarity, how you can develop your communication, how you can develop your ownership, so you can have some material to review later on and think more about that, all that we discussed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. I don't think there's any questions right now. But yeah, just want to say thank you to all the speakers. Learned so much from all of you. But yeah, thank you to the speakers for sharing your expertise and all of your experiences. And thank all of you for joining us today. If you want to join our user group, if you haven't already, there's the QR code on the screen where you can also hear about our next event. A few other things, Tableau conference, I'm sure you heard us talk about it a bit, but Tableau conference is in May in San Diego this year. Hope to see you guys there. We usually have a Comuni Datos meetup, so if you guys are there, look out for any of us and the rest of Comuni Datos. It's always great fun. A few other just Tableau things where our Invis is also very fun competition that happens at TC, and you can also join and watch online. And you could join the Tableau community on Slack to get more, just more about the community. Everyone is welcome, from the data vets that we spoke about to the newbies. It's another great resource. You'll be getting the slides at the end of this along with the speaker slides. Thank you all for joining. And yeah, we do have some TC speakers on the call. So the speakers got announced. I don't know if you guys want to say if you're one of them.
Who's speaking?
All right. Thank you all.
Oh, Brenda, did you want to?
Oh, yes, sorry. One thing that I just wanted to quickly touch upon before we wrap up is, you know, as a community, we're meeting to set the tone for 2026. It'd be a bit remiss of us to not, you know, just kind of acknowledge the situation right now in the US. I know a lot of you are not located in the US, so for those of you that are not, you probably still are aware, but yeah, definitely our community right now is experiencing a lot with ICE and everything happening. So just wanted to, you know, make sure that we acknowledge that that's happening. And, you know, this is definitely a space not just for the professional aspect of things, but also as a community, you know, as professionals, it can be really tough to compartmentalize, you know, everything that's going on and then show up at work like everything's fine. So yeah, we're always open to talk about that and, you know, build that community. And also just wanted to share this website for the Immigrant Defense Project. If you or anyone you know, anyone in your community who was interested in learning what kind of resources are out there, just wanted to share that. Includes things about knowing your rights as well as getting legal advice. So just wanted to put that out there in case anybody could find that helpful. I know, you know, you might not necessarily be in that situation, but you might know somebody that is. So yeah, just wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit.
Thank you for sharing, Brenda. Okay, well, we'll see you all next quarter.
See you.
Maybe
Thank
at
you so
DC.
much.
Thank
Have a
you
good
all.
night,
Thank you all.
Thanks,
Take care.
everyone.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Guys, have a good night. Bye.